to share my experience recently, man, I had some real thinking going on, and I was really in my head. And I was with a group of lovely people, but I was really stuck, like very self-conscious. I just could barely speak without judging myself and without like feeling so just self-conscious. It was awful, to be honest with you, man. But I got to a moment of clarity after sitting with the pain and just basically being, really quite gentle and self-forgiving. And I had this moment of clarity. I kind of went off on my own and just sort of sat with myself for a bit. And I realized, right. You see, all of this has happened because of my mind. Yeah. And when I just sat with myself, I just sat in silence. There was just a little part of me that could see what was happening, that could witness all of this. And they kind of whispered to me, hey man, you're okay. You're just fine, brother. And I just lent into that for a bit. And what I did experientially was I just relaxed a bit. I just kind of did this a bit. And then I returned to the group. And I decided I needed to share a message with the group. I needed to tell these people that I was with what was going on for me. Because it was like pretty difficult to navigate. I couldn't really get through it, yeah. So I decided to share my experience. And I just sat in the front of this room with these people, good, lovely people. And I just surrendered my mind. And I realized I had like this meta insight as I was sharing that I'd already surrendered my mind. So the cure to my, self-consciousness and lower state, and a bit of self-judgment actually, the cure was to surrender my mind. And how it feels, you might be like, dude, how does it feel? Surrendering your mind, basically, is a little bit like, when you're talking to someone and maybe they say something to you that's important and you really tune in and you really listen to them. You see that moment there, you just, like temporarily there's nothing on your mind. You're nothing, just for a second. You're nothing. And that's how it feels. It feels like a nothing. Now, what's funny about this is like part of you will actually, as I said, see that you've surrendered your mind. And you almost want to like hold that really gently and lightly because you don't want to draw too much attention to the thinking because you're surrendering your mind fully. You're committing to the present moment. And when I did it, I realized it was as if I knew I was going to shoot this video. I was like, dude, I've got to share this with you. Yeah. Because I realized like, holy fuck, it's this. This is the way that you do it. This is the way that you get back to God and presence and consciousness and ultimately love. Because when I was, clear again, empty, I was now out of my own way and now I could be with everyone and love them. And it made me remember all of the awakenings that I've had. There's always been one golden rule. For example, I'm coming up, I'm having a high consciousness experience. And like I can see like I'm about to break through here. But I can't quite do it yet. Why not? And like you could say again, God whispers to you, hey, surrender your mind. And then you make space for infinity. Then you make space for God. Then you make space for everything. Yeah, because that's what awakening is. You drop your limited mind, like you're a small corner of the universe, to then, become the whole universe. Become the infinite field. And that's what it's like. And since then, I've been practicing this. Just in little moments, man. Like, yesterday I was just hanging out with a neighbor for like 5-10 minutes. And as I listened to the guy, I was just like, let me just fucking drop my mind right now. I know sometimes it might be kind of hard to do. Sometimes it might be quite noisy or something. But I was like, I'm just going to do it. Because you can kind of control it. When you're empty and present and conscious enough, you can kind of just be like, no, I'm going to refocus. And honestly, man, this whole thing's been a huge relief. Huge relief, man. Because when you're stuck, man, when you're in a lower state and you can't seem to find your way out of it, for me, at least in my experience, it's like that you reach a point, like you might even have an anxiety attack or a brain freeze or a difficult moment. That might happen. That happened to me. But I didn't judge myself. I sought to understand what was going on, and then I just tried my best to relax. And then, once I relaxed a bit, I kind of just, and it's hard to describe how I even did this, man, but I just surrendered my mind. And I suppose what it is really, man, is it's a shift in consciousness. It's like you emotionally are giving up the suffering because you're like, I'm just exhausted. I just can't suffer anymore with this. And so you kind of just surrender that. And in doing so, you surrender your mind. Because there's a shift, isn't there, emotionally, but also spiritually. It's like the emotional shift gives rise to the spiritual shift. It's like you release those emotions like, oh, I'm fucking done. And then boom. It's like, oh, I feel lighter. I feel clearer. I can see again. For me, when I had my experience, it was as if I was taking in the room, and it was a different room. It felt like I was experiencing literally different people. And that's because I was projecting a different experience. Yeah, because people are you. You are seeing yourself and others. If you think a lot, you might experience the room to be tense. Like everyone's looking at you. But if you relax, if you yield, if you surrender your mind, you'll see that everyone, ultimately, man, everyone's God. Yeah, because your whole visual field is a manifestation of God. And all the people within your visual field, yes, they're, the people, but they're also God. And when you see God in your experience, at least for me, when I see this, man, I feel ease. I feel so relaxed. I feel like, oh, I remember again. Like it's safe. God feels safe. That's what we're doing here, really, man. When I was having my difficult moment, I didn't feel safe. Psychologically, I was stuck in ego. Didn't feel safe at all, man. Anxiety. Fucking hell, man. I felt it really intensely. But then, when I had that shift, dude, which again came about from relaxing first and foremost, and then surrendering my mind. When I did that, man, safety returned. It was okay. Because ultimately, man, you make you safe. You're the only one who can make you feel safe and relaxed and yourself. And if you feel like, man, it feels like it's out of my control. It feels like the mind is being so difficult. I can't even do it. Perfect. Then surrender that person who can't do it. You see, this stuff is so subtle, man, honestly. And ultimately, man, my perspective on this is this. Dude, it's always okay. If you get stuck and you can't experience yourself, or you get stuck and you're judging yourself, the truth is, it's always okay. That's what I learned. It's just a matter of your experience catching up with that fact. Because when you do this work deeply, the spiritual work, you realize that the truth of reality is like deep okayness. The higher your consciousness, the more you can see this. And it's not just like okay, it's perfect. You see that it's perfect. Reality is perfection. Like for me, man, when I think back to this experience I had, it was a difficult moment. I don't judge myself. I don't feel bad about it. I forgive my mind. There's no point judging your mind because you got to appreciate you live with your mind. If you are really existential and contemplative like me, you think, dude, the mind is literally been designed to be here. You experience life with the mind. Why? And just appreciate, it's here. It's part of your experience. It's a feature of reality, or your reality, your direct experience. So when you really like get that on that deep level, you're like, oh wait, it's like, it's almost like it's meant to be here. You could say it is, yeah? I'm not going to try and resist it and fight it and fuck it off. No, I'm just going to accept it. I'm going to accept it as my human condition. Because ultimately, man, you look around, you're like, dude, what is life? What is reality? What is direct experience? Dude, you have a mind. Let your mind be your mind. Let it be there. Or surrender it. In fact, when you surrender your mind, you have extra appreciation of it. It's a little bit like if you do the spiritual work and you actually feel like really deep peace, genuine happiness, real relaxation. You then appreciate like the other side of the coin. So like suffering, human life, busyness, noisiness, fucking stress, depression, anxiety. You appreciate it now. But when you're in it and you're stuck in it and you don't even realize that like you can pop out of it, you're not going to appreciate it. You're going to be like, fuck this, fuck life. Life is shit. No, it's not. Because life is just your experience of reality. It's like your story of your experience. And when you don't have a mind and you kind of like say, how's life right now? And you're like, dude, it's awesome. Because you're experiencing presence. And like, this, now, here. And that's awesome. It is. Like, I don't know how to explain it, man. It just is. And like, really, you want to catch yourself anytime you say, oh, fucking life. Because the truth is, man, you can like massively increase and improve your idea of what, how life is by doing more of this work and by surrendering more of your mind. If your mind is full of crap, you're going to think life's shit. Of course, man. But if you have experiences, numerous experiences of surrendering your mind, you're going to see life so purely, crystal clear. And you're like, dude, life is freaking awesome. Dude, I hope you've enjoyed this. And I hope you've heard something that helps you. My friend, lots of love. Take care. And as always, man,